Hello, dear boys of class 10. Greetings to you all and welcome to English second paper class brought to you by this online platform. How are you all? I hope and believe that all of you were doing very fine by the grace of Almighty. This is your Simi Miss warmly welcoming you all to this virtual presentation. Dear boys, today we are going to discuss a very important topic, and the topic is transformation of sentences. As a part of transformation of sentences, today we will discuss changing sentences from affirmative to negative and negative to affirmative. To change some sentences from affirmative to negative, today we will discuss some rules. And we will discuss the same rules to change from negative to affirmative. Only what we need to do is we have to reverse the rules. So dear boys, we will easily understand when we will practice some sentences following the rules. So today we are going to discuss a very new topic, that is transformation of sentences, and we are changing sentences. That means we are practicing transformation of sentences maybe from class 7. So this is a very new topic and this is very easy. So dear boys, now let's move to our lesson. So to change some sentences from affirmative to negative or to transform some sentences, we follow two rules. We change the sentences changing the meaning, and we change the sentences without changing the meaning, usually. So in transformation of sentences, we usually follow the second one. We change the sentences without changing the meaning. So dear boys, now I will show you how to change the sentences without changing the meaning. Okay? We can do it anytime, but we should not do it while we are talking about transformation of sentences. In the case of transformation of sentences, we should not change the sentences with changing the meaning. So one thing to keep in our mind that in transformation of sentences, we have to change the sentences without changing the meaning. Okay. So here you can see, I am a boy. I am not a boy. He is a student. He is not a student. They were happy. They were not happy. So this is a common platform of changing some sentences, changing the meaning. Now we will see changing the sentences without changing the meaning. Okay, so here you can see man is mortal, man is immortal. So here you can see mortal is an affirmative verb and immortal is a negative verb. So while we want to transform some sentences without changing the meaning, we have to follow some rules. So here we have followed a rule, that is, when we converted the sentences, the sentence from affirmative to negative, we have used negative verb. He is wise. He is not foolish. He is rich. He is not poor. So dear boys, I hope you are very clear about this fact, because this matter is very known to you all. So here we have some rules. Actually, we are going to discuss about some rules to transform some sentences from affirmative to negative. So dear boys, number 1, if you have only or alone in affirmative sentence, then you have to use none but. Dear boys, if you have only or alone in affirmative sentence, then to make it negative, to make the sentence negative, you have to use none but instead of only or alone at the very beginning of the sentence. So what is written here? To change an affirmative sentence having only or alone to negative, use none but at the very beginning of the negative sentence. So here you can see God alone is almighty. So instead of alone we have to use none but. None but God alone is almighty. So we are instructed to use none but at the very beginning of the sentence. Here you can see none but God is almighty. Okay. Only he can play good cricket. None but he can play good cricket. Only the science students can apply for the post. So here we have only, we have to use none but at the very beginning of the sentence. None but the science students can apply for the post. Only they can do the work. None but they can do the work. Very easy and very common. Okay. So if you have only in affirmative sentence indicating something, okay, if you have only in affirmative sentence indicating something, then you have to use nothing but. Okay, if you have only in your sentence indicating age or number, when you have only in your affirmative sentence indicating a person, then you have to use none but. If you have only in your affirmative sentence indicating something, then you have to use nothing but. And if you have only in your sentence indicating age or number, then you have to use not more than or not less than. Right. So here you have some example. He is only 4. So here we have only indicating number. So here we have to use not more than or not less than. You can say he is not more than 4. You can say he is not less than 4. Okay. They have only 2 cars, indicating number. Okay. They have not more than 2 cars. Okay. So you can say she has only few toys. She has only few toys. She has nothing but few toys. Okay. So now we will move to rule number 2. If you have must in your affirmative sentence, if you have must in your affirmative sentence, then write down cannot but or cannot help. Okay, instead of must, write down cannot but or cannot help. So let's see what we have in number 2. Write cannot but or cannot help instead of must while changing sentences from affirmative to negative. So here you have some example. You must yield to your fate. Okay, instead of must we have to use cannot but or cannot help. You cannot but yield to your fate. Okay, here we have another example. We must obey our parents. We cannot but obey our parents. You must care them. You cannot help carrying them. So when you are using cannot help, then you have to use verb plus ing. Okay, when you are using cannot help, then you have to use verb plus ing in the sentence. Okay, you cannot help carrying them. You must obey your parents. You cannot help obeying your parents. Okay, dear boys, are you clear about these rules? If you have any confusion, then you can ask me in the comment box. So here we have rule number 3. If you have every in affirmative sentence, then you have to follow the structure. You have to follow this structure. There is no. Instead of every, you have to use there is no. And after that, you have to write down the word after every. And you have to write down but and then the rest of the sentences. Okay, so let's read what we have in rule number 3. If you have every in an affirmative sentence, follow the structure below to transform the sentence from affirmative to negative. At first you have to write down there is no, then you have to write down the word used after every, and then but, then rest of the sentences. Everyone hates a terrorist. Okay, instead of every we have written there is no. Then the word after every. After every here we have one. That's why here we have written one. There is no one, then but according to the structure. Then hates a terrorist. There is no one but hates a terrorist. Okay, next. Everybody fears a lion. There is nobody but fears a lion. Okay, there is nobody but fears a lion. Okay, here you can see there is no mother but loves her child. Okay, here, okay. So now we will do the reverse one. We will do from negative to affirmative. You see, there is no mother but loves her child. So instead of there is no, okay, instead of there is no, we have to use every. Then we will use the word after there is no. Every mother, then we will use the rest of the sentences. Loves her child. Okay, by our structure, we got but. So we will not use but while changing sentences from negative to affirmative. So but will be dropped off. Okay, we should not use but because we have got this but from the structure. Okay, every mother loves her child. There is no one but help him. At first we will write down every instead of there is no, and after that we have to use the word after there is no. Everyone, then we will drop but. Everyone will help him. So this is very easy. Okay, in number 4 we have as soon as. If you have as soon as in your affirmative sentence, then you have to follow the following structure. Which structure to be followed? Here you see, use no sooner had instead of as soon as. Then write down the subject, write down past participle form of verb, rest of the sentences, and then write down the second sentence. Okay, as soon as he saw the tiger, he ran away. Okay, so dear boys, I want to make you clear about one thing, that is when we use as soon as, then we have to write down the sentence in past indefinite tense. You see, as soon as he saw, past indefinite tense, the tiger, he ran away. So we have to use no sooner had instead of as soon as. And when we will use no sooner had in our sentence, the sentence will be written in past perfect tense. Right, dear boys? So no sooner had he. Okay? No sooner had he. Then we have to write down past participle form of verb. Seen. Then the rest of the sentences. The tiger. So from structure we have got then. The next sentence. He ran away. So dear boys, here you can see another example. As soon as the boy saw the police, he ran away. Okay? So according to the structure, we have to use no sooner had instead of as soon as. So now we will write down no sooner had, and we all know that if we use no sooner had, then we have to write down the sentence in past perfect tense. So the sentence will be written in past perfect tense. So follow the structure of past perfect tense. No sooner had the boy seen, past participle form of verb, seen the police, then he ran away. Now, if we want to change the negative sentence into affirmative, then we have to do the reverse thing. Yes, just like no sooner had the boy seen the police, then he ran away. So instead of no sooner had, you have to write down as soon as. And we all know that if we use as soon as, the sentence will be written in past indefinite tense. So dear boys, let's write down the sentence in past indefinite tense. As soon as, then write down the subject, the boy. Then write down past form of the verb. Here we have seen. So now we will write down saw. Okay, then write down the rest of the sentence. Okay. So for then, put a comma here. Then write down the rest of the sentences. He ran away. Okay, very easy. So rule number 5 here. To change affirmative sentence into negative, use negative form of affirmative verb in the sentence. Okay? To change affirmative sentence into negative, use negative form of affirmative verb in the sentence. Very easy. He is a good man. So good is affirmative form of verb. Now you have to use negative form of this affirmative verb. So what is the negative form of affirmative verb good? Yes, of course, bad. He is not a bad man. Okay. Rakib is an honest boy. Rakib is not a dishonest boy. This was an extraordinary ship. This was not an ordinary ship. So, dear boys, to change the sentence from negative to affirmative, just reverse the rule. Okay? For example, here we have this was not an ordinary ship. So, here we have uh, negative negative form of verb. So, we have to use affirmative form of verb. Okay? So, this was, and here we have used not. Just cut off not and write down an. Here we have used not an ordinary. We will use extraordinary ship. This was an extraordinary ship. Rakib is not a dishonest boy. So for dishonest, we will write down affirmative verb honest. Rakib is an honest boy. He is not a bad man. For bad, we will use good. Bad is a negative verb. We will use the affirmative one, good. He is a good man. And we are not going to use not in our affirmative sentence, as we all know that if we use not, then it will be a negative sentence. So dear boys, that's all for today. The rules we have discussed today are very familiar to you all, and these are very easy. I hope you all understood the lesson, and if you have any confusion, you can knock me in the post comment box, you can ask me in YouTube comment box, or you can ask me in my messenger also, and you have my WhatsApp number, you can ask me there also. So dear boys, if you have any type of confusion, any type of question, feel free to ask me. So that's the end of today's lesson. Take care. Take care of your family members. Help your family members. Help your mother in cooking and other activities. And help your younger in their studies and other activities. And above all, study hard. Be attentive in your studies. Take care. Thanks to you all.